quick question. We got any poets in the house? Any of y'all do poetry? Y'all want to spit something?
No.
DJ Honey?
Look, I know you in the hot seat, but I'm just saying.
You didn't put Christopher Watt.
Hey everyone, and thanks for joining your favorite four friends once again for a brand new episode. My name is Chris Colston. I'm joined with Isaiah Tukes, Kimberly Lake, and Laria Reed. And again, we are Four Friends in a Book podcast. So Four Friends in a Book is our monthly podcast series where we have a discussion centered around a book that we're reading together. And we meet here for a discussion and also to talk about any current events or relevant topics that may or may not relate to that book. So somewhat of a book club, a book review mixed with just table talk amongst friends. So for those that are new to our channel, please like, share, subscribe, follow along with us as we continue on this journey. For our Four Friends crew, hey, that's been with us from day one. We thank you guys. We appreciate your support, all your feedback, your comments, and your posts. So continue on that journey with us. So we got a little bit of sad news, you know. This our last book for this season. It's our last episode for season 1, you know. A little sad, but don't worry, you know, we'll be back. We're coming back soon for season 2. So again, we thank you guys for riding with us. Stay tuned, follow our channel. We're gonna put out some content. So if you're looking for us in the meantime, and we'll start back up with season 2 in the new year. We're gonna take a little time, you know, just chill with family, friends, enjoy the holidays, but we'll be right back. So let's jump into the book for this month. Kind of poetry genre of books. So our book for this month was Finna by Nate Marshall. So again, a book of poems or a book of poetry. For those of you that may not be familiar with Nate Marshall, he's a author, poet, playwright out of South Side of Chicago. He's also an assistant professor of English at Colorado College. And so Finna is his second book. And again, it's a book of poetry. You know, he's Nate Marshall's kind of well known for spoken word and kind of slam poetry, but he's put this, you know, his collection into a book form, and that was our book for this month. So we're gonna get to the discussion of that. So starting out, we're gonna come to my brother Isaiah. So what was your overall, I guess, thoughts and ideas about the book? So again, this is a book of poetry, and also as you read the book, what was your favorite poem or one that kind of resonated with you the most?
Okay, my first overall impression of the book was, I think the book is like an amazing read. It's worth reading. You know, Nate explores so many topics in this book, and feel as in his poems, you can feel it, you know, where he talks about his family, friendship, and history, especially with the Black excellence that you get from the book. And as I read Finna, you know, I was able to see his life, the lessons he learned, you know, his experiences, and you can relate to that. You know, Finna celebrates the Black vernacular that connects us together. And there are just certain things that we can all relate to no matter where we grew up in. And, you know, what I think that I got from the book was that, you know, I think Nate, you know, tried to break down barriers and, you know, shed the light of oppression, you know, with these words in our community. You know, and although with reading this book, some people may not agree with certain words that was actually used and the choices that he used in this book, but I think that we cannot ignore certain languages, you know, without addressing, you know, what it is.
Good. Laria, Kim, y'all want to go next? So overall thoughts or takeaways about the book, favorite poem or even what do you feel like Nate was trying to convey with this book?
Well, I enjoyed the poems, and I enjoyed, as Isaiah said, where he talked about Chicago, where he's from, and his family, his grandmother, and specifically his experiences. It was almost like listening to a book, but through short poems.
Mhm.
So that's what I liked about it, and it kind of it piqued my interest. It was short, but it was still good. I enjoyed it. One of the poems that I liked the most was Fit 11, and he talks about in the poem about all of the things that African Americans have contributed to this country, about slavery, about the music, the culture. He just kept going on and on about the different things that we have contributed as a people to this culture. So we deserve Fit 11, whatever that number is. It needs to be quadrupled or tripled to Fit 11 times. And we know that from our own culture. We always say when we talk about a high number, we say about 11 times. So anyway, but yeah, I really enjoyed that poem the most because it was just talking about going down the line of where we started to where we are now, reparations, those types of things. So I think that was my favorite poem, but I enjoyed it. I think that it was very different than a lot of the things that we've read because of the poetry, and I was introduced to him through this book. So I like it. I like Nate Marshall. I like him.
Okay, good. 11 times.
11 times.
All right, Ken, what are your thoughts? What do you think Nate was trying to convey with this kind of body of work or this body of poems that he presented in this book? And also, if you had a favorite poem that you want to kind of mention.
So overall, I thought the book was about the Black experience, especially here in America. So him talking about growing up, the vernacular we use, how he's talking about his family, the racism we face as individuals and as a whole race in this country. So I thought that was the overall theme of the book. For me, I listened to it, and as I was listening to it, I think the poems are good. But I just realized that I'm just not a poetry person, I don't think. And I thought I was because I love Jones. And I was like, oh, Love Jones spoken word. But I think for me, like because the poems are so short, like Maria said, so it's kind of like hard for me to kind of get into the rhythm of it, especially reading it, listening to it, because he really went through the poems. So it's not a bad book, but I just realized that poetry is just not like my, cup of tea, really. So, but it's good. The poems were good. I thought the content was good. And what I liked most about it was how he talked about the origin stories of Nate Marshall, because the poem is about people that have his same name, and he was like researching them and looking them up. And I've done that myself. Like I have Googled Kimberly Lake and tried to see different people that have my same name and what they may be doing. So I like that part because I can connect with him on that because I've done that myself. So that's my overall view and my favorite poem from the book.
Okay, good. Yeah, I kind of had a similar experience. I think listening to poetry, spoken word, being in like the environment and the atmosphere of it is kind of creates a good mood and experience for you. Me personally, so I read the books. I didn't listen on Audible this time, so I read it. So I did kind of I had a hard time kind of getting into the flow. Like I had to kind of put my little poet hat on and put my shades on and, get into that zone and try to like follow the cadence of kind of get into that. So when I first started reading, I was like, I don't know. But as I read the poems and really started getting into it, he does do a great job of conveying the Black experience and putting it into, spoken word poetry form with, these different sonnets and different poems that he's writing. So it was kind of a slow start for me, just kind of getting into that mood, that mindset. Again, it is different from the other books that we have kind of covered, where they've been, kind of more literary bodies of works, or stories, but these are just kind of poems. And so kind of switching and getting into that mindset was a little transition for me, but I did enjoy it. The poem that kind of stuck out to me, so that 5011 was one of the ones I wrote down. It was a good one, again, talking about reparations and just the things that we have done within this country, and kind of outline those things and just really saying that it's hard to even put a price on that. So that was a good one. He took me back, man. Oregon Trail, like
Right.
thinking about being in elementary, going to computer lab and playing Oregon Trail and just the journey of that game, but also relating it to life experiences and death and things that he's seeing kind of firsthand was a lot of good symbolism that he kind of brought out of just childhood life experiences, things that he has gone through within being in Chicago. Like I said, he really just tells a story that I think many people can connect to and relate to. So yeah, I enjoyed it. What was another? Heck No was another good one. I enjoyed that one. So a lot of good poems that kind of resonated and stood out to me. Isaiah, did you? I don't know. Did you mention your favorite?
Yeah, I forgot to mention my favorite. I too enjoyed the same one. Kim enjoyed the other Nate Marshall. And I actually wanted to recite a part of it because that's what stood out for me. You know, he stated in one of the poems in the other Nate Marshall, every time I said what's good, it's possible we match our mouths symmetrically around the two G's in the middle. I won't lie to you, Nate Marshall. I too myself, Nate Marshall, have hated myself, and I was able to tweet the tail. I too have sat in suspicions in my basement, wondering who was coming for my country. And that stuck out to me as well, because I think that poem was, from what I gathered from it, it seems that he was wrestling with himself. It reminded me of this book I read like a while ago, like The Other West More. And it's where these two different people with the same name come from the same environment, but they end up in two different sides of the coin. And it seems that when you Google yourself, you like, is this person just like me? Like, do we come from the same background and we just end up in different spaces? And I think that's the reason I resonated with that poem so well.
Wow.
Okay, good. All right, so good talk, good discussion about the book again. Finna by Nate Marshall, a book of poetry. This is his second book of poetry. So again, if you guys aren't familiar, check him out. It's a good read. Like I said, it's a little different, but from what we've been doing, but still a good experience and a good takeaway as far as just a good body of work. So let's transition a little bit. We always talk about books. We also give you guys current events, relevant topics that may or may not relate to that book. So one of the things that we keep hearing about now, and it's all over the place, especially now this digital and media age that we live in, is this concept of cancel culture. We seeing celebrities, we're seeing athletes, professionals within entertainment industries just being canceled for either things that they're saying now or things they may have said historically in the past. And so we're living in this age of cancel culture, and it seems to be kind of snowballing, and it's happening a lot more frequently than we, I guess, have been used to. And it's not always even public figures. Sometimes it's private figures as well. We discussed, in a previous episode about, the woman in the, in the park and, making threats against someone. And he was just kind of, bird watching and, people calling the cops. And so in this culture now where you can, literally go viral on social media and get canceled, whether that's you, maybe losing your job or being kind of outcast in other areas. So this culture that we live in now is cancel culture. What do you guys even think about that? Again, growing up, I don't think it was as big of a deal. I think there may have been some kind of remnants or residue of it, but now it seems like you can be canceled at the drop of a dime.
Yeah.
What are you guys' thoughts on this whole cancel culture concept, or this little movement that's kind of happening so frequently now? Maria, you want to start?
Sure. So, well, when I think of cancel culture, of course, we all have been seeing where everybody's talking about Dave Chappelle and his special, where he talks about everybody. That one thing that I love about Dave Chappelle, you can never say that has not talked about your group. No matter who the group is, he's gonna be inappropriate. He's gonna say whatever, and I don't think that he can be canceled because you can't take him seriously. And like they say in every joke, there is a bit of truth, and I think that those truths make some people mad, which causes them to want to cancel people. But I personally, I don't think that I have specifically canceled anybody, but I will say when I was thinking about this topic, there are certain people, there's like a televangelist that I used to listen to sometimes, and I found out who she supports, who are white supremacists and things of that sort. And it's like an underlying thing that I found out about, and I stopped buying her books. It's just like certain things like that. I think that we do subconsciously, like, if I see it on TV, I'm like, I really don't. Yeah, and that's been my story. So for me, I don't know if I per se just cancel somebody because they have a different viewpoint than I do, but I really don't feel like racism is a negotiable for me. That's just for me. I don't think that treating people indifferent is negotiable. There are certain things that, for me, I don't think that that's right, no matter if I agree with you or not. So, but yeah, I don't feel like we're talking about people's money and their employment, and people work for these folks, and then you just gonna be like, we cancel them, and there is a time to boycott. I mean, that's what worked for Martin Luther King back in the day. So they were doing cancel culture before there was a cancel culture, with all of that. But just to sum it up, it just depends on the situation. It depends on the situation.
Okay. Isaiah, you want to jump in?
Sure. I think that, we have made cancel culture synonymous with being held accountable and being, sometimes we even get clowned for, wanting to cancel these people. And yes, sometimes the person deserves to be clowned and, also deserves to be held accountable for being caught in the lie. But, like Loretta stated, that they still have a job. We're still human. We're still allowed to make some mistakes. But some mistakes you have to be held accountable for, but you can't keep making these same mistakes because it becomes a and no longer a mistake. And as to, like Loretta said, I haven't basically just canceled somebody from out the blue. It's just like over time, like I see the same mistakes that you have made. Like me personally, I have canceled a company, and it was just basically a series of mistakes that they was making unapologetic about it. And then have you ever heard the term follow the money? And this company was sponsoring things that I didn't quite agree with. And then once I actually found out that they were sponsoring things and people that actually stood with beliefs that I didn't stand for, I thought that it was just best to cut ties with that situation. And that's why I actually canceled that company. But I have to look at the whole point of view and look at everything in all aspects. And I just won't cancel you because you made me mad in that moment. No, it's just like a things that I got from your business or your company.
Right.
Okay. Kim, what are your thoughts on this whole cancel culture thing? Loretta mentioned Dave Chappelle. We've also heard of different, professional athletes or entertainers that are getting caught up into either saying something or just looking back at their past and history and then being canceled for it. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think cancel culture is interesting. I think the internet is what has blown it up to where it is now. I know growing up, I don't remember this. You get scandals or somebody says something, you'll see it on the news, but now it's almost like this mob mentality. Like as soon as somebody says something wrong, I mean, people find out where they work, where they live, they tag their employers, and like they are fired within like 2 hours or anything like that. So I think as a person, you have every right, like Daria said, if you have like non-negotiables, if there's a public figure or company that says something or stands for something or does something that go against like your values, I think you have every right to cancel them and just not support them. But I just think there's just like a bloodthirsty mentality to like destroy people behind it. And I just think like one, with cancel culture, people don't have the ability to redeem themselves, one. And I just think people just get caught up. Being in the internet, it's easy to not think of somebody as a real person because you're behind the screen, they're behind the screen. But like people have families and, you know, have to make ends meet. So I don't think every time somebody does something, it's like you're fired, you're thrown out. Like it's like they take away everything from you. And I don't think that's the right approach all the time, especially if you want somebody to like change their behavior or learn. I think that would make me bitter and be like, well, screw that, you know, go the other way. So I think we need to, some people do need to be canceled, and sometimes people just need to learn or, you know, have a little grace thrown at them. So I think cancel culture is a little too like extreme for me. So yeah, that's how I feel about that.
Yeah, that's good. You guys all mentioned like this good points, and I guess one of the words you just said, Kim, that kind of stood out to me was the grace piece of it. I think the culture that we're in right now with this whole movement of canceling people doesn't really extend grace, but it also, I think, it makes people afraid to step outside their comfort zone or even to learn new things and have new experiences, because you can become so afraid of being canceled due to your ignorance, or even, I think sometimes it is negligence. I think some people this is maybe who they may be, and they're just, you know, being, you know, kind of bad people or butts about it or whatever. But I don't think it gives you the opportunity to really to learn and you know, expand beyond your current, you know, kind of, you know, area, because you can be canceled so easily. So I think it creates a fear for people. Even when we talk about race relations and things of that sort, you know, we don't have open dialogue and discussion because I think people are afraid of being canceled. And what may come of that. And so I think when we get to that point, we lose sight of what the true motivation should be. And now it's about, you know, trying to destroy someone and just, you know, really make their life difficult and hard. I think there's a difference between supporting someone or a company or a business or even a person, and then also canceling them. So I think those things have kind of become synonymous, but to me, they should be separate. I think you can, you know, not support someone and what they stand for without having to necessarily cancel them. And like I said, destroy their career, destroy their livelihood. And again, I don't think it gives the opportunity for someone to really to learn and grow and expand beyond, you know, their present state. So yeah, and also, man, this cancel culture stuff, I don't even know. Like it snowballed so quickly, and I think people just jump on the bandwagon. Like I don't even think all the time these people even know what's going on. They just they jumping on board with something and trying to run with it. And yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's just a bit much for me. So all right, so look, 4 Friends in the Book podcast. Look, y'all better not try to cancel it. Like we ain't had it.
I bet you won't.
We ain't going for it. But again, we're talking about books, we're talking about current events, topics that are relevant within our community, within our nation, within this world. So again, this month, Finna by Nate Marshall, and this whole topic of cancel culture and what we think about that, what our topic. So good talk, guys. Good discussion. All right, so look, if y'all been rocking with us for a while, you already know what time it is. Our favorite segment of the show, we have it every episode, which we call The Rant. 60 seconds, uninterrupted, no debate, no discussion, just speaking from the heart, whatever's on your mind, whatever you may be feeling, whether it's locally in your community, on a national, worldwide platforms, whatever it may be. And so we coming back. You know who it is. Mr. Rant Man himself, Isaiah Tukes, killing the rants every episode. So, brother, look, do what you do, man. 60 seconds, uninterrupted. Starting now. Go.
Well, let's talk about Aaron Rodgers for a second. It was discovered that the Green Bay Packers quarterback was unvaccinated after contacting COVID-19. And after being discovered of his dishonesty, he went on this apology tour where he stated that an NFL doctor told him that if he was vaccinated, he couldn't catch or spread COVID, which later was reported to be false. Aaron Rodgers deserves every bit of criticism and discipline he receives, and then some. His actions were dishonest and selfish, and his explanations are ridiculous. And instead of being genuine in his apology, he actually brought up stuff like cancel culture, woke mob, oppression, and tried to quote MLK. All because he got caught lying about being vaccinated in a sport that doesn't even require it. And there are certain times that you can quote MLK, and Aaron, this wasn't one of them. And that's that on that.
That was good.
Look, man, I thought you was about to cancel Aaron for a second, man.
No, he's a leader, within his organization. I just want him to learn from the situation. Like you convinced the Packers.
Yeah.
So he didn't have to lie because you ain't got to lie, Craig. You ain't got to lie.
We look to him for leadership.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So again, hey, we give you guys books, relevant topics, current events, and these rants each episode. And we thank you guys for riding along with us. Again, this is our kind of last episode of the season, but we're gonna be back. We're gonna be back. So Isaiah, brother, go and tell them about what we got coming up next.
Yes, sir, guys. Before we let you go, we want to actually just say thank you so much for just following us through season 1. And as Chris said, this is our season finale, but we're coming back. We're coming better than ever before. And before we let you go, I just want to say that our next episode, we're going to talk about the best of season 1. We talked about so much this season, so we just want to give you our experience of what we got from the show. And Laria, I know you got a tease for it. So just don't spill it.
Well, you guys know we love the holidays. Happy holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Indigenous Peoples Day, all of those things.
Yes.
So we're going to do something next month. We will have a holiday giveaway. So we need you to go to our social media accounts, More Friends in a Book, Facebook, Instagram. Make sure you go to us, like it, follow us, because we're going to be announcing some things. And we want you to be a part of it so that you can receive some things that we have cooked up for you. So make sure that you go and follow us.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys. As always, we thank you for your support, and we appreciate you guys being with us. Let's read, let's learn, let's grow, and let's have a discussion here on Four Friends in a Book. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.